There may be the glitz and the glamour of the Champions League on tonight as Inter Milan are taking on Barcelona for free at the San Siro, but you know what? I prefer the Scottish playoffs. Do you not, my friend?
I actually do, and that's a fact, man. I'd rather watch Scottish football than watch the Champions League. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football, and that might be controversial, but you know what? I think there's a better atmosphere in the Scottish League than there is the Champions League.
We actually watched Partick and Ayr over Inter Barca. Now, it is on right now, but that's only because Partick Ayr's over.
Yeah, now if Partick Ayr somehow had about 40 minutes added on, we'd still be watching that game. But here, it didn't. It only had 90 minutes plus 6, and Ayr United were the better team, at least on paper, because they got one goal. They have the lead going into the
Jamie Murphy.
Yeah, they have the lead going into the second leg of the first round of playoffs, but it's a long way to go for both of those teams. But we will start with the League One playoffs then, why not? First game up, Elgin City and Annan Athletic. Elgin City 2, Annan 4. So yeah, the League 2 side, they're losing by 2 goals to 4. And not a great result at home.
No.
I'm not saying they're out of it, but yes, I'd say that, come on. They need the next goal, don't they?
Well, of course. Is the tie over?
It's not quite over, but it's
It's borderline over.
yeah, it's not a good start for East Elgin City.
No, it's really not. And Athletic, I think, have got one foot into the next round of this. Well, it's into the next round. The next round is the final, so I would fully expect them to go through. But here, goals, goals, goals. You love it. Edinburgh City won. East 5-0. Not as many goals in this game. Edinburgh City. Everyone feared the worst way Edinburgh City, but especially remember last season, like it was kind of rock bottom for them.
Yes.
East 5, Dick Campbell. But I mean, 1-0's not bad. Honestly, I'm not saying you take getting beat 1-0, but getting beat 1-0 away from home, bringing it back to your own ground, it's all to play for. So 1-0's no bad.
Yes, but you know what, Edinburgh City, I think they've been the form team, haven't they? In the second half of the season. I mean, a lot of people predicted them to go straight down, thought they'd be knocked out of the pyramid, but you know, at the start of the season, it was looking like they were going to be in a relegation battle, but then they just found form out of nowhere, and they got themselves into the playoff position. At one point, it looked like they could maybe put in a title fight. That was beyond them. But I'm not surprised that they've got a 1-0 lead over East Fife, and I think they could see this out in the second leg. I think we could be looking at an Edinburgh City and an Athletic final. I know that's easy to predict because that's the two teams that are currently leading, but
Is that what you want?
I'd like to see Edinburgh City go back up.
Nah, why? Yeah, Edinburgh City. We need some club from Edinburgh doing the rounds. Like
We definitely do.
that's it. Right.
There's a game one, no bad at the moment in the league, like
Nah, but
Premier
I'm
League.
not a fan of the colour green.
Well, I can totally understand that. Right, let's move into Scottish Championship playoffs then. Stenhouse Muir 1, Airdrieonians 3. I'm looking at these teams and I'm thinking that Airdrieonians should have enough. I think Queen of the South are probably the team most likely, if any, to knock Airdrieonians out in this this playoff battle. But I think Airdrieonians would have looked at these teams and I think they'd have been pretty relaxed and comfortable, believing that over 2 legs they've got the beating of any of these three, and I think they've pretty much shown that already.
Is it safe to say that the Championship and League One's got the biggest gap?
Nah, I think
You think it's Premiership?
Nah, it would be
Championship? I'm not convinced. I
No, come on. League One over the last couple of years had some solid teams in it.
Yeah, but I think now they're all back in the big time. Dunfermline and Falkirk. They're all upper league. That's my point. You know, Airdrie.
So wait, you don't mean in general? You just mean just for this season?
That's what I want of it. Oh, of course, in general, the Premiership's gonna.
Well, if let's say Airdrie take on, even though technically Cove Rangers should be favourites now because of these results, but let's say it's Airdrie versus Cove Rangers or Airdrie versus Queen of the South in the final. Do you think there's a bigger gap between those teams than Ross County versus
Livy? I think there is.
Is that just because
I
Ross
wouldn't
County?
say it's massive, but
What if Dundee that finish 11th?
Dundee are very hot and cold, though. You know what I mean? You don't know what Dundee's going to turn up. It's a tough one. It's definitely it's a tough one, but I would just give it the edge to the Championship League One. But yeah, that's just this season. Obviously, you factor in money in previous seasons gone, but I think what also helps the Championship Premiership argument is the fact that a lot of teams have become like yo-yo teams, I think, to a degree. We've seen Kelly, Dundee United, Dundee. I mean, I'll even throw fucking Hearts in there if we want to. So
I don't think that's the correct definition of a yo-yo team.
Well, what teams know the correct definition?
Well, I think a yo-yo team would be a team that's actually been up and down, up and down. I don't think Kelly have done that. They've done it once.
True.
I mean, Hearts
definitely both Dundee clubs.
Yeah, I'd say they're both Dundee clubs. I mean, I'm not even sure I put Hearts down. I think there was. I mean, that's the first time we went down. It was due to when both times have been due to either a points deduction or a sim call. You know, I think that's
not the fairest of ways, is it?
No, I don't think so. So when I look at the yo-yo clubs that are in the Premiership, I would say Dundee and I would say Dundee United.
What's happening on Tayside is what you're saying?
Probably, aye.
Yeah.
Now here, I think that Ross County and St Johnstone are potentially yo-yo clubs, but they haven't been in the Championship for a while, so...
Motherwell in the top flight for 40 years, that's a good achievement.
No, but listen, there should be... See if you look at the Championship and the Premiership combined, I think there's enough decent teams in there that there should be about 7 or 8 teams that are constantly going up and down.
No, I agree, aye.
Like, I'm looking at teams that are maybe good enough to be... You know, I think some teams are, like, too good to stay in the Championship for too long, but maybe not good enough to stay in the Premiership for a long period of time.
Yeah, no, I
That's
totally
maybe
agree.
what I see when I see the likes of, like, a Partick Thistle and stuff like that. I'm thinking they should be in the Premier League.
But I think both Dundee clubs are too good to be in it. I think they should be mainstays.
No, I agree.
I think the clubs that shouldn't be mainstays...
I think St Johnstone,
Ross County, Livy, etc. But yeah, Airdrie won 3-1. Queen of the South 0, Cove Rangers 0. This tie's still very much alive. Bit of a shite game though, 0-0. Not many people want to talk about it. I just feel like either way, one of them's going to be victim to Airdrie.
I mean, it's looking that way. We'll see what happens in the second leg. And the last game, Partick Thistle 0, Ayr United 1. Honestly, at this point, I don't really think the home advantage makes that big of a deal.
No, I know.
Ayr United are favourites for me, but not necessarily because they've got the second leg at home. It's just because they've got a 1-goal lead.
Aye, Jamie Murphy with a goal. Decent goal. I mean, there was a few head knocks in this game. High boot for Brian Graham. He wasn't too happy about. A lot of greeting about because this match was labelled as 2 former Celtic men in the dugout. What do you make of that then?
Well, it's factual, isn't it? I mean...
It is factual.
And they're the biggest club in Scotland, aren't they? Like,
no, but like people can agree about it, right? And what I would argue is if 2 Liverpool managers or 2 former Liverpool, like say Stevie G, right, was taking on Stevie G was taking on Kenny Dalglish, right, and they're both managing Championship clubs in the Championship playoff at the end of the Premier League. That, of course, is getting labelled as 2 Liverpool
legends.
Yeah,
I believe so.
It is. That's just the way it works.
Don't know why people are too upset.
It's like Vieira, Henry. You know, I mean, if they managed against each other, there's numerous more. Roy Keane against Gary Net, it's going to be Man United. You know what I mean? That's just the way it works.
I mean, if Partick Thistle come back and win this tie, we're going to see Partick versus Livy about 3 times in the space of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And we always hear how we play each other too many times. Man, 3 times and...
Especially Livy, man.
I mean, even if Ayr win, it's still 6 times over a season.
No, absolutely, but what we'll say is either of these 2 sides I've got no beef with going up. I would actually...
No, it would be fresh. More so Ayr United because they haven't been out in a long time, but Partick Thistle, I think, are a decent-sized club and has been, I think, 6 years, 7 years.
Tell you what, Mark Wilson could get the job. I say he could. I think he would get the job.
I believe last time Partick Thistle were in the Scottish Premiership, Liam Lindsay had a Team of the Season card or a special card or something on FIFA.
I remember that. It would be harsh, I think, if Mark Wilson didn't get the job if he got them promoted.
Well, it's a combination of him and Brian Graham, isn't it? But I mean, how's it going to work if they have to give somebody the actual...
Aye, but if Brian Graham's he's playing still, so I think he would just do as we... How many roles does the guy want? Captain, player,
also,
manager?
I have a feeling that if Partick Thistle did go up and they gave Mark Wilson the job, I think that would be an end of his Super Scoreboard days.
Oh, fuck, aye.
I know people are going to say, well, Andy Halliday is in on him. I don't think...
I think managing.
Yeah, I think it's a bit more... Yeah, I just think as a manager.
Yeah.
I just don't think he'd be able to sit there really and give opinions, and I just don't think he would.
Aye.
He wouldn't be able to be impartial, would he?
Yeah, you're right, because it's not like he'd be Championship. Mark, he'd be Premiership Mark, according to us, but that's where we're going to leave it. I'll be back on Friday, and then, well, actually, I say we're back on Friday. I don't know if we're going to include the preview show and fire all these games in it the same as we may as well do that, because I mean there's no point really previewing 6 games in the Premiership, is there? Anyway, guys, leave your thoughts down below. Till next time, peace.